Hello, good evening out there. Back at you again with the Millionaire by Morning Show. We have a guest today that's going to speak with us about tax sales. His name is Ken Letourneau, and he operates and specializes in tax sales. And I have him on the show today to speak a little bit about that. So prepare yourself, get out your notepads, notebooks. He's just going to give us a few definitions and tell us what it's all about, and and do what he does. Mr. Ken, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here and to share education to your audience right now.
Thank you very much. We're glad to have you. Tax sales, we are interested. I know that I'm interested. I was told a little bit about it, and I looked into it somewhat. But I would have to say, from someone who don't know much about it, can you tell the viewing audience exactly what tax sales is and who holds these type of sales?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah. So tax sales has been in existence for, you can say, hundreds of years. And our local governments, our county governments, or a lot of times our city governments, they have to raise revenue in order to pay for public services, like our roads, our schools, our libraries, basically fire department, the public, the school department, the police department. So they have to raise money. And one of the things they raise money on is when people pay property taxes, okay? So everybody who owns like real property, if you own a house, if you own apartments, something that's attached to the land, okay, rural land and so on, we all have to pay property taxes every single year, okay? Either love it or hate it. We got to pay the property taxes, and we pay it to the local tax collector. And the tax collector responsibility is to allocate that money to the local governments and to the counties to pay a lot of expenses. Well, a lot of times they have shortfalls every single year because not everybody pays their property taxes, okay? So what do? They go out and they actually offer the tax lien certificates to the general public and offer them to buy the certificates. So you're lending the money to the county government, and the government can pay you, 16%, 18%, and I think up in Texas, 25%. Okay. So,
Oh, wow.
it's a great return, and it's very safe because you are secured on the property. Okay. So your first priority on the property, you're above mortgages. You're above judgments, okay? So you've got a very high priority, that you're able to, be secured at, say, 90% of the value of the property, okay?
Okay. And well, are all the tax sales the same around the country, or do they differ?
No, good question there. They all differ, okay? Because there's actually three types of tax sales. One tax sale is the tax lien auction or tax lien certificate sales, okay? And in the tax lien certificate sales, what you are doing, again, you are bidding to own a certificate on the property, okay? And the government will pay you a great interest rate, okay, depending on the state that you're located in, okay? Now, if the person does not pay after so many years, which they call that as a redemption period. So after so many years, what happens there is that you, as the tax lien certificate holder, you can foreclose on the property. So you can own the property now, okay? The second type is a tax deed auction. Well, in tax deed auction, it's a little different, okay? When the auction happens, that you're going to be bidding to own the property right at the auction. So there's no redemption period, or there's no time the owner pays back the taxes. The county government basically said, hey, that's it. If you don't pay it this day, we're going to sell your house, period. because we need the money to pay for property taxes. And the third one that is common, and this is common down in Texas, is called redeemable tax deed. Redeemable tax deed. So basically that means that you have some interest in the property, but the owner has a time to pay the taxes back. Could be 6 months, could be 2 years, okay, in the state of Texas. And some other states, it could be as low as 120 days, maybe, okay? So that's called redeemable tax deed. So think about it like an umbrella. Tax sales is the umbrella, and then tax liens, tax deeds, and redeemable tax deeds are the branches underneath the umbrella, okay? So they all vary, and the interest rates vary too.
So is this, I know one of them, the foreclosure. Is this what wholesalers do when they are in real estate? Is that part of their, because I've heard of this before, um, based on real estate. Is people go when there's a tax lien on a house, you can go purchase the house based off the tax lien?
Right. Okay. So remember, wholesalers are completely different. Okay. When you're going to buy the tax lien certificate, you're buying it from the county. So they're going to have a public auction. Now, the tax lien could be maybe $50. It may only cost you $50, and it could, but some of the tax lien, because you might be buying them on $1 million houses. So those liens might be $25,000 that you might be buying the liens on the property. So you're going to have to come up with the cash right there, and then you will be provided a tax lien certificate. Now, remember, in the tax deed auctions, when they have the auctions, you're going to bid and you're going to win the property. Okay. So you cannot, it's very hard as a wholesaler that you're going to try to tie up a property, because the government's not going to allow you to do that. Okay. They're going to want their money right now. Now, you can buy the tax lien. Maybe you want to assign it to some other investor. So you just want your money back plus interest. Maybe you might be able to get a little bit more by assigning it to another investor. You know, that investor will say, hey, okay, I'll pay you a few dollars more because I might have a good chance of maybe getting the property in the future. So that's how maybe wholesaling could come into a situation, is by the assignments.
The assignment, yes, correct.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, so segueing into the next point, do you need a lot of money to start bidding on the tax sales?
No, very good question, because a lot of people ask me that a lot, and they ask me, do I need a license? Okay, do I need a license to do it? Said, no, because you're just a buyer. You're just buying a property, or you're buying a lien. So instead of going through a local realtor, okay, there's no realtor here. You're buying it direct. You're buying it directly from the county. You're buying it directly, you know, from maybe some of the local municipalities or cities, okay? And again, some of the liens could be as low as what? $50, okay? So a lot of times in the state of Michigan, they have, you can say, the leftover properties that did not sell the first time, and their opening bid's only $100, okay? So you can go in a lot of the states, and a lot of the lien states also, that maybe some of the liens didn't sell, and they call those over-the-counter liens, because they didn't sell the first auction. So maybe something fell through the cracks there, okay? But what can you do? You might be able to get a property that might be worth $100,000, $150,000, and you might be able to buy the lien for only $100. Okay, so there's a great opportunity, but remember, it's always buyer beware. Okay, buyer beware. So they're not giving you any guarantee about how the condition of the property is, or the title of the property, or anything. They're basically saying, hey, we're selling you this APN number or this parcel number. They're not selling you the address. They're sending you the parcel number. And if that parcel number is connected to an address and a house, great. You get the house with the land. But I always tell people, do your homework because you're buying the parcel number on that.
Okay. Great answer. That was very interesting because down in Texas, we really like our land. So can you explain to us what are the types of properties that go to the tax sale to be sold? There are
Yeah.
different type of properties.
Yes, all types of properties. Okay. You can have some great properties. Okay. Some $1 million houses, and you can have some swamp land. Okay. That goes to tax sale. I've gone to auctions that they've been selling cemeteries. Okay. The entire cemetery with all the lots and everything that was going to a tax lien auction. Okay. And I actually heard from a lawyer a while ago, a few years ago. He's telling me they actually were selling the tax lien on the Empire State Building in New York.
Oh wow.
So there's all types of auctions that go on, and I would probably say that, there's houses, there's apartments, there's condos, there's office buildings, anything that's really attached to the land. Okay. It's attached to the land, then they got to pay property taxes. And so if they have to pay property taxes, they're probably going to maybe have a tax sale if they don't pay their property taxes there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So to a newbie who would be interested in this, but is kind of hesitant because they are like, I don't want to go to an auction because there's professionals there that will buy up everything. What would you say to that person?
Well, that's a good question. I like that one. And you've had some great questions so far. Okay. Wall Street does this, and I'm not going to deny it. Wall Street's in here very aggressively. The banks, JP Morgan Chase is a major player here in the tax sale business. All right. You as the investor have to realize that they can't buy everything, and they don't want to buy everything. Okay. They only want to buy certain types of properties. Okay. And they will only buy maybe in certain areas also. So if you're just getting into the business, okay, it's very easily. There's a lot of videos on YouTube you can watch. Okay. We post videos, 5 videos every day on the tax sale business, tax liens and deeds and redeemable. And we talk about all the different states around the country. And we tell people how they work, which is completely free education we give you. Okay. So I always tell people is, look, if you got $100, you can buy a good tax lien. You got to do some research. Okay.
Right.
You got to do some homework and everything. But there's some great opportunities. We bought a property just recently, about a couple months ago, that we showed, and was a house in the state of Arizona. And the house was worth $300,000 if you fixed it up. And we did not. We bought it and we wholesaled it. So we bought it at a very low price, and we were able to wholesale it to a local investor. Okay, and don't worry about any of the repairs or any of that stuff. Right. He got a 50% discount on the property, and we made a little hefty profit also. Okay. As well as other properties that we do too. So, it varies by, the amount of money. Now, if you do want to go to a tax deed auction, you're going to buy the property. Now, if you're going to go to the first auction, okay, you might pay a little bit more money. You might pay $5,000, $6,000 there in the first auction, but they have the over the counter or the leftovers, okay, that you can get the properties much cheaper. Okay. And it all varies by what state. That's the key I tell people. What state do you want to, do your tax sales in?
Okay. With that being said, very important question. If you're in one particular state, I'm in Texas. If I want to buy a property in Arizona, do I need to be there?
No, good. No, No, very good, because a lot of the states have online auctions. Okay, online auctions. Okay, so Arizona does a lot on realauction.com. Realauction.com, Arizona does a lot. Now, Texas, you know what they say in Texas? You're bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Everything's bigger in Texas. Okay, so they're going to have their auctions in person. Okay, mostly all in person. Okay, they're going to have it at the courthouse. They're going to have the lawyers, law firms are usually going to represent the county to do the sales, and they have it very structured down there in the state of Texas. Okay, but every state's different. Florida, again, a lot of it's online and in person. Okay, Texas, you go to, you know, other states like North Dakota, South Dakota, they're all in person, not online, all in person. Okay, so you just got to call the county treasurer or the tax collector and ask them, okay, in that county, is your auction online? Where are they going to be held and what day and time?
Okay, that is an actionable step. For anyone listening, that is the actionable step. Probably the first step is finding out where the auctions are. Am I correct? Other than, you know, having your businesses and business licenses,
Mhm.
but to find a tax sale, calling up your county.
Yeah.
Would that
You
be correct?
call the county treasurer, okay, tax collector. Some of them might be in the city. So like New Jersey handles a lot of them through the cities, okay? But most of the states are handled by the counties. So you just call the county treasurer and tax collector and just say, hey, look, when is your next tax sale? Either tax deed auction or redeemable. But if you usually say, if you say tax sale, they should understand that. And they'll
Right.
tell you when and where it's going to be held. And it's a great way just to, you know, go down and watch and see what some of the people are doing and network with people too.
Networking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Find investors and all type of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if I do bid in the tax sale, where does my money go and am I secured?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. So remember that you are giving the money to the county government, okay? The city government, all right? And they're going to be putting it into their pool, their treasurer's pool, okay? And you, if you're going to be bidding at the tax lien or the redeemable tax deed auction, okay, you will be a lien holder on the property. So you'll have first priority, okay? Now, I give you a warning right now. Okay. Some states work a little bit different. Okay. State of New Mexico, you are not the first priority there. Okay. So I just want to let you know there. All right. But the other ones, you are the first lien holder there. And you, if something happens to the property that they don't pay, you foreclose on the property. So maybe you're buying the lien for $2,000 and the house is worth $200,000. So when the economy goes bad, tax sales go up.
Right.
Okay. Because people are not paying their property taxes. And then on the tax lien, on the tax deed auction, remember, is you're going to be bidding. So you're going to own the property. You're going to own the property right then and there. So you can get a property for maybe 10 cents, 50 cents on the dollar at times in some of these auctions. So you're secured on the property that you're bidding on. Now, if you buy junky property, then yes, you're secured on junky property.
Right. Right.
But if you're buying good quality properties, you are secured on good quality properties.
Okay. I know another term for that. It's called you get what you pay for.
Very
Okay.
good. Very good.
So I would all of this, all of this is very informative. And the only way that we would notice this is opportunities that people can get a foot in the door and very good opportunities, investment opportunities through this. But the only way that you'd be able to is through the education. You really have to know about this. So with that being said, Mr. Ken Letourneau, where can our listeners go to get more information and to learn more?
Yeah, great. Thanks. You can go to taxsalessuccess.com. Taxsalessuccess.com. If you put your name and your email there, you'll get 2 or 3 videos that will tell you about the tax lien, the tax deed, redeemable tax deed. You'll get a free download also of how the whole process kind of works that I kind of created. Okay. And, from there, when we have our free live webinar, you'd be invited. Come over to our free live webinar and maybe ask us some questions while we're doing the webinar. So that's taxsalessuccess.com.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to sign up for it. I want the free download. I also want to check out the webinar. If anyone that's listening to this show knows, and if you've done your research, the number one way to become a millionaire by morning is through real estate. And this is the perfect way to get your foot in the door. So thank you, Mr. Ken, for coming on the show today. And thank you for dropping all the jewels and gems.
Thank you very much for giving me the pleasant opportunity. It was my pleasure very much, sir.
All right. We'll check you out on the next one, and we wish you much success.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Good night.